What's up, everybody? This is Gina Ifoe, the one and only African superstar, back at it again. I hope everybody's doing good. We're here with a live stream. Make sure you please hit the likes when you come in the room. You know the protocols by now. Let me make sure. I gotta do my check and make sure that I can be heard before I get started. Big shout outs, guys, when you come in. You know the routine. Make sure you like the stream. Hi, family. You know the routine. All right, perfect. All right, good. I just needed to make sure I could be heard. All right. All the formalities. Big shout outs to the customers of the AfricanSuperstar.com. If you're not a customer, go on and get to be a customer. Go head over to the website. I got male and female goods. I got beachwear. I got backpacks. The one and only African Superstar. That's www.theafricansuperstar.com. Scrolling across your screen, shout outs to our members only who are designated by the circle next to their name. And also those of you supporting our music project. Guys, let's kick it up a notch. I know you guys ready for that third video for my Black Love track, Come Chill With Me. We're going to do it big. We're going to really, try to top our last video. So, the faster we raise funds, the faster we can shoot that video, okay? So big shout outs to all of you guys. Big shout outs to the viewers. Today is a subscriber only chat, which means that you need to be subscribed to make comments in the chat room, okay? We're trying to boost up our platform, so we need everybody to be on code. So I need you to like the stream, and I need you to subscribe if you haven't. And also, my moderators, give me a like count as the show goes on. So today's topic is 57 years later. Would Malcolm X give his life again for the Black community? For those of you that don't know, yesterday commemorated 57 years since Malcolm X was assassinated. He was 39 years old when he was killed. There's still a lot of rumors and controversy as to who killed him. It's rumored that, members of the Nation of Islam who were working with the FBI conspired against him and, committed the assassination. But, I was thinking yesterday because, people will always put the quotes up, talking about Malcolm X, they'll put the quotes up and everything. And I was thinking, like, if Malcolm X could do it all over again, would he? Look at the state of the Black community. Even the lessons that he tried to teach, what he promoted our people to do, to be self-sufficient, to educate our own children, to marry within our own race. And, these kind of things were all things that Malcolm X promoted. And it's not a coincidence that the things that he was talking about back in the 60s are still relevant today. And yet it's still, the Black community is still not doing it. Still not doing it. I believe that Malcolm X was under the impression that what he was doing was for the greater good. And that's why he was willing to go out there in front. You're crazy if you don't think that Malcolm knew the associated costs for doing what he was doing. Okay, Malcolm X, like any other leader, like any other person in the public eye, like any other freedom fighter, knows the associated costs for that message. He knew what was on the line. He knew that it could result in him dying, but he felt so compelled for the well-being and the welfare of the Black community that he went out anyway. And so on yesterday, I actually pondered and I thought to myself, if Malcolm X could see the state of Black America today, if he could see the global situation of our people, if he could see what's happening on the continent and, blah, 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 how would he feel about that? Would he feel like his death was in vain? Huh? What's up, guys? If you here, like the stream. Today we're talking about Malcolm X. yesterday commemorated, 57 years of his death. And I can't really say that we're making progress. I can't really say that we should be proud of where we are. I can't even really say that if Malcolm X could look at the state of our people currently, that he would feel like, okay, my contribution was well merited. It made a difference among our people. Our people are in a better situation than they were when I was around. You look at the day and age of Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King, you see, a very strong Black community, cohesive families, Black businesses, communities. You see that sense of unity. I talked about it last night when I talked about the future of Black Americans. Some complete idiot and moron came on the video and said, well, why do you care about FBA and ADOS? Duh, stupid. I grew up in America. Hello. I have family in America. I have innumerable amount of friends and acquaintances in America. Duh. And unlike the FBA and the ADOS, I believe in Black global unity, which means although I'm here parlaying on the continent, I still have a concern about what happens to my peers in the diaspora. Duh. Duh. And when I look at the state, I can't really say, I don't know if Malcolm's a man after my own heart, but, I've asked myself that question. Big shout out to the family. Caesar Music says, yes, he would. I don't know. I think Malcolm definitely went out front because he thought that he could influence the people. He thought he could lead them. He thought he could motivate them down the right path. But people haven't even heeded his messages. People haven't even taken his instruction. He talked about Black men not being respected, until they respected their women. He talked about us educating our children, ourselves. He talked about us being self-sufficient, having standalone communities. I don't know that if Malcolm could look at how things are today for our people, especially those in America, that's where he was living, that he could actually say, okay, we're on the right track. Because truth be told, had our people implemented Malcolm's teachings, for instance, back then, 57 years ago, we would be seeing the fruit of those decisions to this day. Had we decided, let's go ahead and set up our own independent schools, we would have several generations of independently educated youth and adults. If we put the Black family on a pedestal and decided to preference each other and treat each other good and build families, the dynamic that we're experiencing today comes from the fact that we didn't implement a lot of the things that Malcolm was teaching. So I don't necessarily know, because me, like I was saying earlier, I've learned a lot from prolific leaders of the past. And the most important lesson that I learned is you cannot love and help people more than they will love and help yourself. Okay? Even in this particular line of work, you receive so much backlash for being visionary and being prolific and advocating on the behalf of your own people. And so I made a decision a long time ago. I'm not going to put my life on the line for people. No. I'm not going to be the sacrificial lamb, and I'm not going to be the martyr. No. All I can do for my people is help them from a distance. If the burden gets to be too much for me to bear, I'm going to remove myself from it, because I don't want to be a martyr. When you think about what Malcolm X gave up because of his message. You know, in other words, he loved the Black community more than himself, more than his wife, more than his kids, you know, because he knew it was a risk. Bishop's family, if you're here, please, please, please like the stream, get in the chat room. Malcolm loved the community more than himself, because any other person, and matter of fact, the masses of people that followed him or listened to him or so on and so forth, you see, they were a part of the movement, but they didn't want to be the face of the movement. Okay, they want to come to the meetings and they want to be, you know, in the black and white pictures, and they wanted to be, you know, historic, but they didn't want to pay that ultimate price. Malcolm paid it. You know, his wife widowed, his kids abandoned. A young man, 39 years old, dead. You know, a leader and role model to so many people. He paid the ultimate price, and our people have not heeded his messages. That's why we're still in the situation that we're in. Progressive Blacks know that it's a wrap in the West. That has been a wrap in the West. Like Caesar Music says, he says, that's why I got my Africa plan. I'm not going to be a martyr. You damn right. The probability of you getting enveloped into some nonsense in that setting is way higher than it is here on the continent. You know, and we see it all the time. We see people that, you know, want to be advocates, want to be activists, you know, both in the UK, both in America, dying crazy circumstances, committing suicide, being shot by the police, and all this kind of stuff. Guys, it's a very simple lesson in proximity. You know, I don't know what Malcolm's situation was. I know that he did travel to the continent, you know, in the 60s, but I don't know if they would have went through a lot of the legwork to come and assassinate him had he been residing on the continent. I mean, they could have, you know, but it's about proximity a lot of times, guys. But look, Caesar done got me off the topic. The topic is 57 years later. If Malcolm could do it all over, would he? If I was Malcolm, I would say, hell no. Y'all niggas on your own. Okay? Y'all stubborn. You don't want to unite. You don't want to practice Black love. You don't want to circulate your money in the community. You don't want to go to Africa. You don't want, you know what I mean? You just don't want to do. You just don't want to educate your kids. You keep looking to someone else to solve your problems. And if you think about it logically, okay, if you think about it logically, your enemy is never going to do anything to position you well for the win. Okay, your enemy's never going to be forthright. Your enemy's never going to have your best interest at heart. You know, I think sometimes we, in the West, we're addicted to this like movie magic. You know, I also see that with diasporans, for instance, heading to the continent. It's like, I'm going to get this one-way ticket and I'm going to roll the dice and see what happens. We are groomed with that movie magic. Okay, at the end of this, you know, hour, at the end of this 30 minutes is going to be a happy ending. That's not how it works. Okay. Now for centuries, and look at the state of our people. And what all the other ethnicities practice, you know, to keep their culture ongoing and to keep, you know, the youth driving at their future and stuff. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. We don't want to unify. We don't want to take the responsibility of taking on our own issues. you know, and what is happening to our people and what has happened to our people will continue to happen because we don't want to take the responsibility of doing it ourselves. All we do is sit back and complain. They don't teach us, the curriculums aren't good at the school. They discriminate against us. They don't give us opportunities. They're violent towards us. Systematic racism. We don't get treated like the other people. And we endure this and over and over and over again instead of positioning ourselves. You know what? Look, I'm not a victim. I'm no longer going to put up with this. Let's get our own community, get our own church, get our own schools, get our own bank, get some land, start a business. Bam, that's a community. I mean, Black people dominate in the healthcare field. I know in the UK, most of those doctors, they're all foreigners, Africans, healthcare workers, everybody in the care field. Okay, we have the skill set to operate our own. Why don't we? Why aren't we? This was Malcolm's message. And when I personally look back and I think to myself, wow, he paid the ultimate cost, but these people are ungrateful. Because the least we could do is say, you know what, this guy went out there on the behalf of us. The least we could do is take some of his direction. He loved the community more than himself, more than his family. He paid the ultimate cost, the cost that most of us don't want to pay or not willing to pay. Every time I see people post the memes of him, I'm just like, this guy was saying what we need to do 50 plus years ago, telling us right then and there, this is what we need to do. Can I get a like count from my moderators? What's up, family? I see y'all watching me today. Yeah. So this was my thought-provoking topic. Obviously this was what I thought about yesterday when I realized that it was the anniversary of him passing away. Big shout out to Tyrone. I see you with that super chat, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I got into my thoughts yesterday thinking about Malcolm X and thinking to myself, he must be disappointed. I'm disappointed. And knowing that he paid with his life. If he was just a bystander guy, if he was just, a part of the community, would they have assassinated? No, they assassinated him because he was a face of the movement, because he was influential, because he was bold, and because he was unapologetic. And he did that. And now he's gone, and look at the state of our people. Look at the state of our people. Big shout outs to the African superstar family. The Cremature says our people are ideologically confused. The false propaganda and disinformation production of our enemies is still effective against African thought and actions. Very true. And you know what? The irony is, what's up, Mr. Hillary? Big shout outs to my moderators. Thank you, guys. The irony is, we know, some of us know what's happening. Okay? Now, me in particular, I can't go in this boat with y'all because I've enacted upon my desires to change my life. But some of us, a lot of us, see what's happening. So, for instance, we have become adults now. And we realize, wow, we were miseducated. And then what do? We put our kids in the same exact school system. We were promoted to go into certain fields. Big shout outs to Mr. O'Shea Duke Jackson from Uganda. Thank you so much, brother, for that super chat. We realized that, okay, we were promoted to go into IT and business, fields and stuff like that at university. When we now know as adults, the power is in trades. you know, or as O'Shea would say, it's in skills. You know, be good at what you do. But we still promote our kids to go waste time in college. Go get in debt. We know that the genesis of the Black community is the Black male and Black female, but we don't promote Black love. We don't even want to have the conversation with our kids. When they come home with the non-Black partner, we don't say nothing. You see, that's the paradox. That's what I'm talking about. Would Malcolm X be happy with the way that we're operating when he gave us the blueprint and he paid with his life? Big shout outs to Tayi Uhuru. Big shout outs, man. I got the big boys in here with me today. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Make sure you like the stream. I appreciate the super chats. We got Mr. O'Shea Duke Jackson in the building. One of my brothers, you know, holding it down here on YouTube. Much love to you, Tayi Uhuru. This is one of our, you know, very seasoned African travelers. My homeboy representing from Cleveland, Ohio. Much love to Tayi Uhuru. What's up, Jackie? I see you. So tonight, this is what I'm talking about. I kind of challenge you guys to think about it. I thought about it yesterday, and I thought to myself, if I was Malcolm, I'll be like, you're on your own. On my own. I wouldn't be dying for these jokers. I'm just being honest. I wouldn't. You know, and that's why I have the perspective that I have. Okay? All I can do is give you guys the resources. Some people come here and they get embroiled in scandals. Why? Because they want to help you. Doing tours and selling land and doing all these diasporian services. You know, I talked to a friend of mine the other day on Messenger. Okay, and this is a person who has migrated back to Nigeria and was operating like a, you know, kind of a guest house for other diasporians. Okay, a diasporian came into her house, stayed for 4 good months, and then didn't want to pay. Filed a claim through PayPal, and my homegirl actually had to end up paying PayPal, lost the money for housing this woman, and also got defamation of character because now other people that want to do business with her have heard that she's not reputable. And for why? Trying to provide housing to the diaspora that's coming, trying to be a resource to our people. It's a very fine line, guys. And I have to say, for those of you that are diasporians and, you know, you have this Malcolm X heart, okay, because I don't got this Malcolm X heart. I got African superstar heart, okay? I love y'all, but I love me more. I'm just being honest. I'm not going to sit here and lie to y'all, okay? I'm not trying to die for the cause. No, that's why I moved to the continent, okay? If I wanted to die for the cause, I could just go to a Black Lives Matter protest, or I could just try to have a conversation with a police officer, or I could just try to live in America. My probability of becoming a martyr or dying for the cause is much higher than. Okay, I want to come over here and flex, go to the pool, relax, party, okay, enjoy the sun, get old, watch my legacy happen. Okay, that's what I'm trying to do. But some of you guys got that Malcolm X heart. Okay, and you're coming here to the continent. Be very careful with some of these folks that are coming. I'm being honest. Their mind is not right. Okay, they're coming here for a myriad of reasons, and it may not be the right reasons. I encourage you to assess and vet the people that you're dealing with. And I also encourage you to examine that gut feeling. You know, they say before Malcolm X got assassinated, he was paranoid. He was feeling uncomfortable. You know, he was feeling like people were out to get him. You have to be very careful. Despite him feeling like that, he still went to the Audubon room and gave his weekly speech, which is what he was doing when he got shot. I encourage you guys to operate in SMP because we have a serious division among our people. It's very, very evident, and it can be deadly. And if you don't want to kind of go out like Malcolm, now don't get me wrong, I love Malcolm X. Malcolm X was a brilliant man, prolific and iconic. he had a very timeless message, which is why a lot of his messages are very still relevant to this day. But at the end of the day, he paid the ultimate cost for ungrateful people that didn't even heed his message. So I just got to advise you guys to be very careful as you proceed. Me personally, what I can offer the community is an example and information. But anybody who personally knows me knows I don't really get too close. Shout out to my friends here. Here in Ghana, they know that I'm kind of arm's length, you know, until I assess a few things because of Malcolm X, because of Dr. Martin Luther King, because of Kwame Nkrumah, because of Thomas Sankara, because of Gaddafi. You know, inner circle people that are not playing for the team. Mr. Hillary, I don't know that she can have any recourse because these things happen in Nigeria. And it could be her word against the other person's word and so on and so forth. But, you know, she told me she was just, it was such a devastating situation. And that she's no longer providing housing to the diaspora. And I don't blame her. You know, I've had other friends that have tried to provide services to the diaspora and had similar outcomes. You know, and we have people here on YouTube that their entire platform is to detract and destroy and defame those of us that are here on the continent. You know, people that have been in business for years, people like Bomani. You know, getting attacked, getting accused without any basis, without any proof. We live in that kind of era. You know, so I personally, I mean, Malcolm X is a smart man. So I'm willing to barter. If he looked at the situation now, 2022, he'd be like, y'all on your own. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Y'all don't even listen to me. And if I can say that's the biggest life lesson I've learned, you know, I'd say within the last decade, which is people that really want to change their dynamic are going to change their dynamic. Okay? If any of you guys are entrepreneurs, I know we have some other entrepreneurs. You know the customer that asks you the most questions, huh? They ask you for everything under the sun. Okay? And in some cases, you provide them whatever they need, or you get it, or you find it, or whatever. And then they don't even shop with you. Can I get a number one? If you guys have ever encountered that. Okay, you have a customer that's asking you for the sun, moon, and stars, asking you for custom, you know, some kind of custom arrangement, some kind of, you know, you go through the hoopla. I give you this example because people that really want to change their life is going to figure out how to change it. They don't do a lot of talking. They don't do a lot of deliberation. All they want to do is get it popping. That's all they want to do. And we have a lot of people that is just doing, as my sister and I call it, Buddha chatter. I know Tayi knows what I'm talking about because he operates tours and people be asking for the sun, moon, and stars, and then they don't be doing anything. Big shout outs to Fitzroy. Thank you so much for that super chat. Okay, so, you know, you see all these people. There's a lot of people in the US. They like, I need automatic citizenship. I need to come visa free. I need land. You know what I'm saying? I need this. I need that. They're not serious. Because if they were serious, the most important thing was like, let me get over here and see what's happening on the continent. Let me just put my eyes on the continent first and then go from there. Maybe I got to hopscotch. Maybe I got to come and go to and from. You know, my brother O'Shea, that's what he did. Visited Uganda, decided to set his studios up. You know, he's been there probably 9 or 10 times now in the last several years, taking equipment and getting everything set up. You know, a lot of us that have been traveling to the continent, we've been here several times, you know, over 10, 15, 20 times, trying to see what's happening on the continent. All we needed to know was that it was a potential option. That's all we needed to know. We didn't need a sun, moon, and stars. And that's the most valuable lesson I've learned is don't waste your time with people who's not serious. You know what I'm saying? If Malcolm X, for instance, would not have broadcasted his message to the masses, if he would have focused on, okay, I got these 10, 20 people that's bowing, okay? They ready to start the school. They ready to start the bank. They're serious. They're listening to me and they're ready to implement. Malcolm could have instituted the change that he so desperately wanted to see in our people. But he was more concerned with what? Getting the message out to the masses, okay? The masses that did what? Didn't even listen to what he had to say. Didn't even take it into consideration. When he died, they just moved on to the next fad. You know, all these people that were at these, you know, historical speeches from Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King, when the civil rights came and inclusion was a thing, they just integrated in. No more by any means necessary. No more do it for yourself. No more of that. You see, that's what I learned. When people want to do something, they're going to do something. So what I would tell you guys, diasporians, okay, more gems in this message for you. Deal with people that's here on the continent, okay? If you want to get something popping, connect with people that's already here. Because they have gone past the initial inquisitive stage and all of that. They've been able to take some action. You know, I told y'all a long time ago, I don't debate Africa with people that have never traveled and never been here. It doesn't make any sense. You know, and what goes on here on the continent or what we're experiencing on the continent, people back home that have never traveled here, they can't relate. We're talking about different things. Whatever you want to do, okay, if you have an initiative on the continent, look for like-minded people that are already here on the ground. Okay, they came here, they got their own means, they got a place to live, they got a game plan, they done did immigration. The people that are still out there, if they're serious, they got to measure up. They have to show and prove. We've already showed and proved. They got to show and prove. Because this whole like, let's heal the world and get to the masses. No, that's not it. Focus on your subsect and figure out how to implement your change. You know, yeah, it would be beautiful if you could get a movement of millions of people behind you and all that stuff. But is that realistic? What about them 5 people in your corner that's serious? Y'all can get something popping. Y'all can buy land. You can build the school. You can start the business with them 5. And trust me, the masses, because they're trendy. Okay, whenever whatever you have is working, they will want to talk to you then. They will want to hear what you have to say then. People thought I was crazy about Ghana, but now I'm a subject matter expert on Ghana. When they want to travel to the continent, I'm the one they call. Now, when I used to live with them in the US, in the UK, and I used to talk about Ghana, they didn't want to hear what I had to say because I was right there next to them. And they're looking at me like, this girl, she's not serious. Now I got a track record. They coming on their own. So big shout out to the African Superstar family. Thank you guys so much for coming by. This was my message tonight. I wonder, 57 years later, would Malcolm X do it all again? Big shout out to Our Exodus. Our Exodus says, Malcolm X planted seeds that can take generations to grow into a tree and bear fruit. When you decide to be a martyr, know that you will most likely not get to see the fruits of your labor in your life. That's exactly why the title is what it is. Because It's been 57 years since Malcolm X was killed. Yesterday was the 57th anniversary. And that's what I'm talking about. Malcolm X definitely planted seeds, but did we nurture them? I mean, Malcolm X is on record saying some very basic things. First of all, you're a fool if you let your enemy educate your kids. Who's educating our kids in America right now? Trivia question. Who's educating our kids in America? Are we educating our kids? Huh? We wonder why our kids are shooting up each other and, you know, all this kind of crazy behavior. Who's educating our kids? What are they instilling in our kids? What kind of exposure do our kids have? I mean, that's one of the most fundamental things that Malcolm X talked about. And we still, 57 years later, not even here on the continent, are taking control of the education of our kids. Malcolm X said, nobody's going to respect the black man until the black man respects the black woman. How are relations between black men and black women? You tell me. That's another seed that he planted. Are we picking it up? Did we nurture it? Did we grow the black love tree? Huh? Malcolm X talked about being self-sufficient. He said, by any means necessary. How many of our people are by any means necessary about anything? So that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about looking at it now, 57 years later, the state of our community. Have we nurtured the seeds that Malcolm X planted, as you said? Have we? Do we see the fruit? Just yesterday, you know, my last live stream, I talked about, will Black Americans become extinct? Guess what? If we were taking the ideologies that Malcolm X taught, we absolutely would not be becoming extinct. We would be multiplying. Because we would be sewing ourselves back into ourselves, into our community, like every other ethnicity is doing in the world, from Chinese to Jewish to the Mexicans to even Africans. The Black Americans are warring like this with each other. Don't want to even unite with other, you know, Blacks in the diaspora. Are those the seeds that Malcolm X planted? No. So obviously I know that in his day and age, he thought it was for the greater good. He knew what was on the line. You know, he knew it could cost him his life. Any person that speaks out knows that. But I'm pretty sure that he believed in his mind that it was for the greater good. That he was helping his people, that he was going to make a difference. And now 57 years later, you know, we can see it. We can see the timeline. And big shout out to Beliza. Those seeds have barely germinated. Malcolm left a straightforward blueprint. Absolutely. Absolutely. Present day, only the Malcolm X grassroots movement out of Jackson shows any sign of passing the torch forward. Big shout outs to you. Straightforward, very clear what we need to do if we want to be relevant, how we need to repair our community. Straightforward. These people don't want to do it. I know for a fact that our people are difficult. I mean, you know, we talk, we're emotional, we like complaining, but when it comes down to getting it in, now we can protest all day. We could protest until the cows come home. We can do hashtags. You know, we're experts in that. We can do, we're scholars at back and forth on social media. But when it comes to this work, when it comes to putting up the funds, when it comes to taking responsibility for our own kids, or our community, you'll be hard pressed to get somebody action. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, and I would say that if you have any respect for Malcolm X, okay, you call yourself a Pan-African, you call yourself a pro-Black, then learn about what he had to say and try your best to implement it in your life. Stand up and take responsibility for our future. It can't all just be one or two people that are trying to do stuff, because that's not going to have an impact. Now, don't get me wrong, you don't need thousands either. If you get a handful of people that you can work with them and let that be that. Sometimes it might just be you and your partner. It might be your husband or wife, whatever. You guys are a family. Go for it. Mr. SDMC, big shout out to you. They don't want to build a nation. They want to crawl back onto the plantation. That's Malcolm X's words. He called it a long time ago. They're not really about this life. And those of us here on the continent, we know a lot of you guys back in the West ain't about this life. I can kind of tell sometimes. I get emails from people and the email looks like a paragraph. And I'm like, they're not about this life. We still, year of return, for instance, 2019. That's when a lot of people got hyped to the continent. Okay. We're now 19, 20, 21, 22. We're 4 years in. Yeah. Some people are still asking how to get the passport. Some people are still asking if Ghana needs a visa. Is this not information you can get from Google? How many videos do we need to produce here on YouTube? What you need to go to Ghana. 5 things to do before you travel to Africa. Okay? Don't move here without housing. And et cetera, additional information. And you guys are still hitting me with the paragraph of what do I need to do? You're not serious. I know it. Because like I said, serious people are going to find a way. If they don't have the information, they're going to get the information. And a lot of people now, 2022, I mean, because of this social media thing, you guys have so many more resources when it comes to planning your movements on the continent. You have so much media here. And like I said, there's some diasporans that are even providing services, providing housing, providing tours, providing all kinds of support to help you get it popping on the continent. And, you're not still doing anything. You're not serious. You complain about the plantation, as Malcolm called it, but you ain't no runaway. Because people talk about, oh yeah, back in them slave days, I would have been one to rebel. No, you wouldn't. You're not rebellion quality. You're not cut from that cloth. You house nigga caliber. Huh? You're wait and see. Let's see what happens. Well, what can happen if I leave the plantation? What's going to happen? That's who you are. The runaway said, I don't give a damn. I don't care. The prospect is freedom. I'm going for it. I don't care. I don't care. I know all the associated risk. I don't care. And that dynamic still stands today. So think about our brother Malcolm X. Think about what he put in. If you don't know what Malcolm X says, if you don't know anything, YouTube is also your friend. You can watch speeches of him here on YouTube. I've watched several of them. He has books. There's all kind of information about him. You could Google, find out the very straightforward blueprint that he gave to our people. you know? And if you respect him, begin to implement some of those things. You know, he gave a comprehensive blueprint, family, education, you know, all of that, self-sufficiency, entrepreneurship. He told us this is how we do it. Before Montel Jordan said it, Malcolm X said it. So big shout out to the family. Big shout out to my members only. They're represented by the circle next to their name. Thank you so much for the like count. You guys were excellent. I'm not going to open the call lines today. Maybe next time. But please make sure you like the stream. You guys are doing really good with that. And subscribe to the channel if you have not yet already. That way you will not miss our notifications. Okay, family? All right. And much love to my super chat donors. Thank you guys so much for showing up and showing out. Much love to you guys. I will see you again soon. Until we meet again, stay black and true. If you ain't black, just stay true.